Well, we made it through the spec house. Big project. Very, parts of it were standard, construction procedure around here. Parts of it were a little bit sort of unique, perhaps profoundly unique compared to where you live. Well, I am happy to announce that I'm going to start another project, much smaller and much more sort of easily applicable to almost anybody's life. And that is, we're going to build a small shop building, 26 by 36. 14-foot eaves, got an upstairs office in the back, 2x6 walls, truss roof, a monolithic turned down edge slab. We're going to do it fairly step by step. It's not going to be anywhere near as big or as exhaustive as our house project was. I'm thinking maybe a dozen videos. But it's going to show you more detail on a project that may be much more similar to something that you may be contemplating or could be contemplating, or perhaps you know someone that needs something just like this built in their backyard. Part of what I'm going to be walking you through as I introduce this project to you and then as it's built is the very sort of high anxiety process of making the choices. There are an unlimited number of choices that need to be made about form and function and budget, not to mention what it is that you know how to do or that you can find someone who knows how to do. And all of those choices have real-world consequences. And we're going to make a point of explaining to you why we've made the choices that we make on the site that we're building on in order to make the building that Ben and Amanda need. Now let me introduce you to who Ben and Amanda are. Amanda is my daughter, my first child. She married Ben Brewster, the world's finest son-in-law. You met him. He put the low voltage work in the spec house. And you've gotten to look at a few times their 5 children. You're going to get to see those kids working on this project quite a bit. It's in their backyard, and a couple of them have a real interest in making and crafting, and not only interest, but capability. So I am delighted to be working with my grandchildren on a building that they will be part of as they grow up. It's a blessing that I sort of hoped for, but really didn't have a great expectation of realizing, and that is to be able to do work for my own children in my old age. So let me show you the plans that I drew. These are the originals, so the lines are faint. There have been a couple changes that the engineer and the county required, but in general, it'll show you at least your opening introduction to some of the choices that we've made on the Brewster's shop. This is a site map. This is their house. You're going to get a look at that. This is their backyard. This is their lot. And you come down the driveway, turn into the garage, and when we're done with this, you're going to drive right into the 14-foot wide garage door, 14 by 14, 12 by 14, 12 by 14 garage door in their 26 by 36 shop. Setbacks were a bit of a concern. There's a 5-foot minimum setback on the side yard. There's a 10-foot minimum setback on the back line. And because of the shape of the lot and the orientation of the driveway and this little slope that you're going to see, we've got about 7 feet right there. Little floor plan. We're 26 feet out to out. Oh, it is a 14-foot garage door. I remembered that. It's 14 by 14. Overhead door. You're coming back about 26 feet to this partition right there. Little bathroom, set of winders that goes up to an upstairs office. This indicates a beam which will leave the space under the office open for storage and workbenches and that sort of thing. A French door going in. What is the front? This faces into their backyard. This is a window. So here's a foundation plan. It's a monolithic slab, a monolithic pour. That is, the footings around the perimeter and the floor itself will all pour on the same day. We'll have Dustin and Tom and their crackerjack crew in there laying this thing down. It specifies the rebar layout and the size of the footings and how I'm treating the subgrade and all of those things. I also threw a lot of hold downs in here because I have them in the shop. I'm trying to clean this stuff out, and I just figured if I slammed extra hold downs in there and extra heavy ones, I probably wouldn't have to pay an engineer to appease the county that we are seismic compliant. It's so clearly overbuilt. But for the cost of drawing in the pencil marks and pulling the hold downs that I already have in stock out and putting them in my daughter's shop, I thought we'll save a little engineering money. So here's the framing plan. This is the one page that needed an engineer to weigh in because I forgot to even specify the size of that glue lamb beam. If I would have specified that and really slammed it, like 5.5 by 13, they would have gone, yeah, that'll hold it because it's only a 15-foot span and it's only carrying a little bit of dead load right there on a little bitty floor and no problem. But I forgot to write it in. So I got connected with an excellent engineer who's in our area. He specified that. He also pointed out that I needed to enlarge the perimeter footing right here to accommodate the point load on that post. Happy to do that. I got good service out of him, and his contact information will be in the notes to this video. But in general, specifying header sizes, they're all going to exceed that requirement, by the way. I salvaged some glulam beams that will be far, far stronger than what's drawn here. The up and the down on the winders and the size of the joist, which is 2 by 10. The 2 by 10 joists I'm using because the height of this is barely enough at a 14-foot, 16-foot eave? Oh, it'll be on the section. 16-foot eave is barely enough to use 2 by 10 joists, drywall the bottom, deck the top, and still have a 7.5-foot headroom condition down here and a 7.5-foot headroom condition upstairs. So I'm using these 2 by 10s as the edge forms on my turn down edge pour. Okay, just a couple sort of non-typical things here. I'm using a 19-inch, 19 and 3/16 inch layout on these joists. It's 3/4 inch decking. It's not very far across there. 2 feet would not be strong enough to suit me, although it would be code compliant. 16 inches is throwing away, in today's dollars, $100 worth of extra joists. And so I'm using the 19 and 3/16 inch layout on the joists. These hangers are going to hanger onto the side of this glulam. So it's a flush beam situation from the bottom. They're going to, I don't know why I have it drawn like that. I'm not going to hang her over. Yes, I am. This wall balloons up. That's what it is. This wall balloons all the way up to the roof height. And so I'm going to hanger these off of a ledger right there. So a couple non-typical things. This glulam is also going to project up above the floor diaphragm because of its depth. And so this will just be a little bit funky. Everything else is garden variety. All right, so this page fills in some of the question marks and details about a monolithic turn down edge and the fact that we've got a little slope over here on the east side of this thing. I'm going to lay a little cinder block, a little CMU retaining wall right there. There's going to be a gutter drain and a little French drain that happens right there. So the dirt is going to come up against the side of the stem wall. Once that's laid up, it's also going to return around the front just for appearance. You'll see that. A turn down edge means that you have your slab thickness and then you've excavated a footing at the edges and it all fills up at once. A couple of longitudinal rebar at the bottom, one hanging at the top. It is a little difficult, a little trickier, a little more labor intense to form, but boy, it sure is nice to just pour that floor and be able to go to work. So it's 5/8 drywall on the ceilings. It keeps it flat, it keeps it strong, it makes it fire rated. There's a 5/8 drywall ceiling down here underneath that storage area. What else? Okay, we're using LP lap siding. We're not using hardy panel. 1/2 inch, 15/16 OSB subsheeting, etc., etc., etc. The trusses are manufactured from a company up Relco Truss and Floor. I've been in a queue in order to have my spot in their lineup since last November for delivery in May. We'll see if I am ready for those. And yeah, that's what it looks like if you slice the building in half, right down the middle. This is the last page. This shows the front elevation. 14 by 14 overhead door, gable end vent. This matches the siding and construction and aesthetic of the house, which sits right next door. It'll be painted the same color, the same siding, the same spacing, the same barge rafter, all of it. I'm not showing there will be a fascia gutter, no fascia board, but a fascia gutter. Going to wrap around the corner with the block, so we have a masonry appearance on the side. We're going to do the same thing over here just for consistent appearance from the street. And that is what we're going to be starting. Let me walk you out in the field and show you the stack of lumber that we're storing out there for Ben and Amanda. They bought it last fall when lumber prices dipped. We're storing it here until probably 30 days from now when I move it over to their site. There's not room to store it there, and who wants to watch lumber prices, double again before you start a project? Anyway, it's dry, it's stacked, it's safe, and you'll get a look at it once here, and then get a good look at it when we take it over there and unload it. So what you're looking at right here is a big old pile of lumber that I'm going to turn into Ben and Amanda's shop. So I guess you got to use your imagination. It's all wrapped up, protected from the weather, because lumber is not something that you want to take any chances with in terms of quality as much as it costs these days. But it is everything that's needed for the structure, except the roof trusses, which have been ordered and are scheduled for delivery in about 60 days. I guess I'd better get busy. So anyway, I'm delighted that I'm healed up from the spec house project. I'm anxious to get started on a project for my daughter and her family. And at this point, I'm thankful that at 64, I can still move around and do a little work. Thanks for watching Essential Craftsman, and keep up the good work.